Britain's Prime Minister is in Northern Ireland on Monday to try and end political deadlock at Stormont. He'll hold talks with the leaders of Northern Ireland's political parties to try and persuade them to enter a power-sharing government. The Unionists have refused to form a new devolved administration over the post-Brexit Northern Ireland Protocol, which has been a source of tension since it came into force in 2021. The protocol requires checks on some goods entering Northern Ireland from the rest of the UK. On Tuesday, the UK government is expected to reveal legislation that would allow it to unilaterally override parts of the protocol. Boris Johnson is hoping the EU will change its position, but has said he will act if it does not. The recent Stormont election saw nationalists Sinn Féin displace the DUP to become the overall largest party in Northern Ireland for the first time. The DUP still remains the largest unionist party in the region. We can talk to our correspondent Giles Gibson, who's joining us live now from London. Giles, what is Boris Johnson's message today to those political parties in Northern Ireland?
Well, Ollie, we saw Boris Johnson writing an article in a local newspaper in Northern Ireland, the Belfast Telegraph, and he put out a pretty clear message to political leaders in that part of the UK. He said that he wants to see the Northern Ireland Assembly functioning again, and he said very clearly that they need to get back to work. Now, as you were mentioning there, he is going to be meeting with two of the really key players in all of this. Firstly, Sir Geoffrey Donaldson, who is the leader of the DUP. He wants to, or he has previously said that he wants to see the Northern Ireland Protocol completely scrapped. He argues, and his party argue, that basically what it does is it sort of isolates Northern Ireland. It cuts off Northern Ireland from the rest of the United Kingdom. And he is also really digging in his heels, not budging at all about agreeing any sort of a power-sharing agreement in order for Stormont and in order for the Northern Ireland Assembly to get back to work, using Boris Johnson's words. Meanwhile, the British Prime Minister will also be meeting with Michelle O'Neill, a really key player in this as well. She is the deputy leader of Sinn Féin, the Irish Nationalist Party. She is on course to becoming First Minister of Northern Ireland because her party was the single biggest party after the recent elections in Northern Ireland. But unless the DUP, unless Sir Geoffrey Donaldson is willing to budge, is willing to make some sort of movement, some sort of compromise, she is going to be waiting to become First Minister. And Northern Irish politics, the Northern Irish Assembly, is really just going to be in stalemate until there is any sort of movement from the DUP.
What about the EU? What is the European Commission saying about calls from the UK for it to move more in those negotiations about the protocol? And are we looking at a potential trade war?
Well, what we've seen in recent months is officials from the UK government and from the European Commission just sort of shuttling back and forth between London and Brussels on the Eurostar, trying to find some technical fixes to all of this. Basically, what the European Commission has been saying for months now is that they are not going to reopen the Northern Ireland Protocol for complete renegotiation, as the UK government have been asking or even demanding. What they've been saying is that they are simply looking at some technical fixes. So, some introducing express lanes, for example, for certain types of goods coming into Northern Ireland, that sort of thing. So tinkering around the edges rather than opening it up for complete renegotiation. We've also been hearing several times from the EU's chief negotiator in this, Maroš Šefčovič. His message has really been that the UK government, in his view, are just sort of escalating tensions too much, that they are really sort of making this much more complicated than it needs to be. And his message has been to the UK government that they need to dial down their rhetoric. Really, the next test in terms of the EU's response is going to be when the UK government puts out that proposed legislation. We're expecting that to happen on Tuesday here in London, which would, if it gets through Parliament, allow the government to strip out certain parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol. We are expecting it to take weeks or perhaps even a couple of months for that legislation to work its way through Parliament. And Ollie, the real question here is when would the EU feel that it needed to respond? Would it send out some sort of strong response? Would it take some sort of action, the very first step to what could eventually become a trade war? Would it do that once the UK government publishes this legislation, or what is seen more likely in Brussels is that the EU could sort of, keep its powder dry for now, wait for that legislation to work its way through Parliament, and if it is approved, that is then, I think, going to be the next inflection point when we see tensions rising even further.
OK, thanks, Giles.